girl, he just went down on you, and he, with the same mouth that he ate cockroaches with. How am I supposed to recover from that? Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. I'm Morgan.
And I'm Tammy.
And today we are going to do our March reading wrap-ups. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Taylor and Bookish content.
Mother-Daughter Murder Mystery by Nina Simon. I listened to this book. I listened to a lot of my books this month. I think I only physically read one of them. But it follows a high-power businesswoman who has a health scare and needs to move in with her daughter and her granddaughter. And in the small town that she moves into with them, a murder happens, and the granddaughter is a suspect. So the three of them come together to get the daughter out of the suspect list and solve the murder. And I gave that 4 stars.
I read Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. This is about a woman who is an artist and she becomes a stay-at-home mom, and she starts to think that she might be turning into a dog. So it's kind of like a horror, but also a lot of commentary on motherhood. And it was just fine. I gave it a 2.5.
Wasn't there a movie or a show or something?
There is. I still need to watch it.
Okay.
So we'll see. It has Amy Adams in it.
Yes,
so.
okay, I've seen that. So, Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This is technically the prequel to Throne of Glass, but I did read it third after Crown of Midnight. I know there is some controversy out there about when this should be read, but I followed Sarah J. Maas's order, and that's what she said. So this follows Selena as the most feared assassin in the kingdom and her missions, and then what's led up to her betrayal and her loss of freedom before we meet her in Throne of Glass. And I gave this a 4 stars.
Okay, so this really has not been my best reading month in terms of like number of books, but also like stars. So I read Hopeless by Elsie Silver. It's the last book in the Chestnut Spring series, and I loved the other books, the Chestnut Spring series. But this one did not work for me.
Me neither. I did not like this one as much.
Yeah, it's about Beau, and he's like a military hero who's like suffering from PTSD and kind of trying to figure out like who he is now that he is no longer in the military, and like what he wants to do with himself. And then he is with Bailey, who is a 22-year-old girl working at a bar, and she's kind of like the town outcast, so they come up with like a fake marriage, fake fiance kind of thing to like benefit both of them. And it's age gap, it's, fake fiance. I didn't like either of them, okay? I didn't like either of their characters. I didn't like their relationship. I thought the age gap, like, just felt icky.
It did.
It just felt like there was too much of a power balance. She's a virgin, which I think added to that, and no. I gave it a 2 stars.
And what was he calling her that you didn't like?
Oh, he kept calling her sugar tits, and I literally
cringe.
Yes. Oh. I don't feel like this is a spoiler either, but like he talks about when he was in the military and he had to go through some things and how he ate cockroaches, and I was like, girl, he just went down on you, and he, with the same mouth that he ate cockroaches with. How am I supposed to recover from that? Like, ew. Ew. Like, I feel like even if she was trying to like make that point, she could have just been like, you didn't have to A, be cockroaches, or B, you could have just been like, I did what I needed to do to survive, and like let the imagination,
Yeah.
But cockroaches. I literally was whenever I talked about this book to my husband, I called him Cockroach Guy. So I just couldn't recover from that.
Yeah, I think when I did my ranking for like the LC Universe men, Theo was down towards the bottom because he was just not
You mean Beau?
Oh, Beau, yeah.
Yeah.
Was down towards the bottom. He just was not my fave.
No thanks. And that stinks because I feel like He could have had so much potential, but it just no.
Okay, next I listened to Dinner for Vampires, Life on a TV Show Cult, or a Cult, Life on a Cult TV Show by Bethany Joy Lentz. If you watched One Tree Hill growing up, or have discovered it now later in life, you will really enjoy this book. It follows her life in an actual cult. Like a Christian cult, which was, I thought, so super interesting, because a lot of times when you see cults, it's like LDS, Mormon, sex cults. So it was interesting to see one that was using the Bible and like Jesus, like the Christian Jesus, to really manipulate her, isolate her from her family, steal from her all the money that she made, because she was making good money being on One Tree Hill for 9 or 10 seasons, and her getting out of that. And so what was really cool to listen to it is, if you did watch One Tree Hill, the men that were in One Tree Hill, they actually read their parts. So it was cool to have hear Chad Michael Murray, actually saying his parts. I wish the other girls, like Sophia Bush and Hillary Burton, I wish they would have done their parts too in there, but I don't think they had as much speaking parts because she wasn't as close with them on the show because of being in the cult. She was super isolated, and was in this family, quote unquote, and so it wasn't until after she got out that she actually got close with them, and I gave that a 5 stars.
I never actually watched that show, but it sounds really interesting.
So the first few seasons are really good, and then a lot of shows like Grey's Anatomy, the longer it's on, the more ridiculous things are,
yeah.
and you're like,
you ran out of ideas.
Yes, and they're just throwing everything at it, and you're like, this is a little insane that this is, you're still doing this, and this is, or why are you still in this town? I would have moved out of Tree Hill if this was the stuff that kept happening over and over again. I'm like, let's get out of this town. We do not need to be here, but
Yeah. Hate when that happens though. Yeah.
Go ahead.
We both read I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman for our March book club. And I gave it a 4.5.
I gave it a 4-star. I did start with a 3.75, and then as we had our book club discussion, it kind of moved it up for me. But this follows a female main character who we do not know the name of at all throughout the entire book, in her life in captivity with 39 other women, and then their eventual escape and what happens after they get out of captivity.
Mm-hmm. And we read this because it is a banned book. And I think it's really impactful. I think the author said a lot with a very short amount of pages.
Yeah, because I think it was under 200 pages. Yeah, it's 164 pages.
I will say, be in a good mindset when you read this book because it's kind of bleak. Mm-hmm. So if you're struggling, don't read this because it's kind of a tough read. But I mean, and it's definitely one of those books where it's a very important read, but you're not reading it for enjoyment because it's not the most enjoyable.
No, not at all. But it does, like I said, I had changed my ratings because we had talked about it, and for a book that I didn't really enjoy, I had a lot to say about it when we did our book club discussion, which you should be able to check out on TikTok soon.
Yeah.
So it is, it's one of those books that sits with you, and I think one of those books that I'll think about for years to come.
Oh, for sure.
And then lastly, I read Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. So this was the 3rd installment in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. So this follows single dad Gus, who needs a babysitter for the summer. And in comes his little sister's best friend and also his sworn enemy. And this is an enemies to lovers little bit of an age gap, but nothing too crazy. I think he's 36 and she's 28, so like nothing in like Beau and Bailey's type of thing. I enjoyed it, but it was very eerie similar to Heartless by Elsie Silver, which is my favorite one in the Chestnut Spring series. The single dad, she's a redhead, which is the same thing in that book.
The nanny.
The nanny for the summer, she moves in with him. Like the relationship between her and it's a daughter this time instead of a son, is like, like he watches them and they have like a great relationship, and he like falls in love with her because she's like so great with his daughter. So it was similar to that, which is kind of hard because and a mountain, he's like a rancher, so like so many things, except this is set in the United States, which is the other one is set in Canada. So definitely if you have read Chestnut Springs, you might not be as a fan of this. The other two books in the series were their own thing, so this is the only one that I was like, okay, this is really kind of similar to that. Spice was decent. Elsie Silver's still the queen in my eye for Spice. But I gave this a 4.5 stars because I still really enjoyed it, even though the storyline was very similar to Heartless.
So
if you made it to this part of the video, leave us, what should we do?
a book stack emoji.
Yes, leave us a book stack emoji, like, and subscribe for more bookish and Taylor content.